Welcome and welcome back. We are headed to Shanghai for an incredible fight night. This one is going to need a pretty fabulous dynamic breakdown leading up to crazy Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang, exclusively a first round finisher, and so much more. We got a 5-round co-main event. Hello. Let's give it a dynamic breakdown. Let's see what everybody has been up to. So we are headed to Shanghai Indoor Stadium. That is some pretty cool stuff. You know, the history of martial arts in China is so deep, and there are a lot of talented fighters that are going to be representing Enbo Fight Club. Hello, so many fighters on this card. For real, it's going to be so much fun to see that talent showcase. We have a co-main event that is 5 rounds. And you may be asking yourself, what is going on there? And you know, who really knows, right? But what we do know is that it's Ortega, okay? Forget T-City. Forget about T-City, it's Ortega time. He wants to stand and he wants to bang. Yes, okay, that is going to be wild. Aljamain Sterling versus Brian Ortega. You know, the talk is that that could be its own main event. Maybe that's why it's 5 rounds. And because we're in China, and for me, you know, over in the States, the shoe is on the other foot, right? Waking up at 2 a.m., let me know if that's going to be you. I think I'm going to have to watch the fights a little bit later. First up, we have a featherweight bout, Yiza versus Weston Wilson. Yiza is a road to UFC guy. You know, he dominated in there. He's been in the UFC since 2023 and hasn't had the best of luck. But during both of those fights, okay, he has showed a lot of heart. I mean, this guy's tough. Okay, he's tough. He's tough. He's very durable on the feet. But the reality is he wants to get choky with it, okay? He's a sub-sir, 56% of his wins, and a lot of chokes hidden in there. So we'll be looking for the neck and looking for that first UFC win. I mean, we're getting to a do-or-die situation here. He's very switchy. He's very kicky on the feet. And a lot of that is in response. So he switches stances in response to who's in front of him. And, you know, we're going to see that. We're going to see that, and we're going to see, hopefully, some moments on the ground, because that is where this horse guy really shines. And funny enough, it's also where Weston Wilson shines. So this is a battle of the substers to start us out with our featherweight, subby sub. You know, we had a little bit of an LFA womp, but we made our way to the UFC, 1-2, 71% of his wins are also from submission, and hey, yeah, we got a lot of chokes in there. Okay, we got 2 guys who are looking to choke, looking to make you pass out. So will it be a battle of the pass outs? Okay, he's never won a decision, and in general has only been there twice. So we're operating under a lot of chaos with Weston Wilson, and he's right now coming off of his first UFC win. Pretty impressive triangle armbar. Okay, nasty stuff, right? That was kind of a while ago. I mean, it was almost it was over a year. Okay, so where has he been? And funny thing about him is he may be choky, but Wonder Boy is his mentor, so that's interesting. So we got 2 substers, okay? We got 2 substers to start the night out, very choky, but who knows if it will go to the ground at all. Yiza definitely likes to stand as well. I mean, we're going to see. I hope we see some on the ground moments because we got 2 chokers on our hands, but you know how it is sometimes when we got 2 people who choke, they're like, let's put that one and let's to bed and let's stay on the feet. Then we have Cork Fest. Watch out for this one. Michelle Pereira versus Kyle Dawis at middleweight. Yeah, we got some quirks on our hands. The thing about Michelle Pereira, okay, is that he is an interesting man. Karate, BJJ black belt, don't forget Zumba instructor. Okay, he's done it all. Okay, he's done it all. The Flash has done it all. Currently coming off of a decision loss to Abbas Magomedov, and hey, we love him. So that's all right? That is all good. And 67% of his losses are from decisions. So, you know, when he's operating in chaos, he's oftentimes getting the better hand of you, okay? And nearly half of those strikes are to the belly, okay? Right to the belly, ellie. He really likes to attack that body. That's what I love about Michelle Pereira is he's willing to get crazy with it, okay? Wins are really evenly split, so he can do it all. He's an everyman, right? As a karate, BJJ, chaos combo, it's so great. Creativity, right? Bravery, performance of the night ×5, fight of the night ×2. He really delivers, honestly. Michelle Pereira, this is a headline type guy, right? Headline type guy. Flying knees, yeah, you heard it. Oh, but did you also hear about the backflip strikes? Yes, backflip. Right, you heard correctly. It's all right. dog rescuer. He's a blacksmith. He's just a good citizen. He's a very interesting guy. But, you know, 4 cancel bouts in a row and multiple weight misses. So chaos meets him everywhere. It does. He's going against Kyle Dawkins, who is back to be a redemption man. Okay, Kyle's coming in looking for redemption. There's a lot of people on this card who have some sort of submission related name, some sort of choke related name or submission in general. And here's our first one, the Darce Knight. Oh yeah, boy is he, okay? Oh boy is he's got 7 wins via Darce, and 73% of his wins in general are from submission. He has never been submitted in his life, so, you know, don't try to go there with him. He has had multiple titles, okay, and it's been a little bit of a whirlwind though in the UFC, so we're back for a second debut, okay? He was cut in 2022, and then he had an incredible run at CCFC, like, let's go. And so, hey, I would say he more than proved himself. He's ready to go. I'm expecting Kyle to come in here with a lot of urgency, right? I mean, Michelle, he's a crazy, wacky dude. He's a crazy, wacky, silly guy, and I think Kyle's going to be like, I need to get my hands on this man fast. I need to get my hands on him before he starts doing backflips, right? But this is going to be chaotic. Definitely massive fan of Michelle because he's just so fun and cool, but we're kind of rooting for Kyle, okay? We're kind of rooting for him with the second debut. Let's turn a new leaf. Then we have one of the sickest matchups on the card, right? Get ready for Ranzu versus Austin Hubard. Hello. Ranzu, Sanda background, aggression, coming off of an incredible decision performance, okay, against Cody Steele. That was wild. That was fight of the night for a reason. That was a back and forth bang. I mean, it's insane that everybody made it out of there. Okay? Because there was it sounded like baseballs against trees on that fight. Like, that was a lot of damage that was sustained, just so much power. Ranzu, he is big. He is a little big for the weight class. I mean, he's missed weight twice, so maybe legitimately too big, but knockout slightly preferred with this man, being that he has that power inside of him. And when he gets close, he gets swinging. That's the thing. He's kind of waiting there, and then as soon as the distance is closed, we're in. Okay, we are in. Massive for the weight class, massive power, massive heart, and some major durability. We saw it. And then we have Austin Hubard. Okay? He's from Illinois, right? So he's our favorite man on the card for that. He's a Vikings fan, though. Well, we forgive him, as many Illinoisans are. It's just how it is, okay? Austin he's done a lot, okay? He's done a lot in his 33 years. He's been all over the place, okay? He's been in the UFC. They said, see ya. He had to prove himself. Now he's back. He was in the tough finale against Kurt Hollybell. Yeah, Kurt got better of him with a little bit of a subby, but that was a wild fight. And you know Kurt, okay? He's a bit of a subster, so is what it is. So the thing about Austin is he's a decision grinder. And, you know, what do we mean by this? Oh, well, in this case, we mean 5-round ready. Okay, he knows 5 rounds like the back of his hand. He's had 4 5-round fights. Not this time, but hey, when it comes to cardio, Austin's going to hit it. And that's why he gets so many wins via decision. Okay, that's not why, but that's one of the contributing factors, is because, oh my gosh, can this guy make it happen? He's got cardio for sure. Very diverse with his striking, mixes in the takedowns. He's ready for it. He's ready for a takedown right away. Okay, he'll throw it in. He's clinch ready as well. He's ready. And he's fought so many dogs. Like, honestly, he's fought so many incredible people who are tough nails. And he has a degree in criminal justice, okay? So he does it all. This will be a brilliant portrait of violence. Both of these guys are tough. They hit hard. And they've got some fun styles. So we got to lock in on Ranzu versus Austin Hubard. We got to lock in. Oh, and we got to lock in on this one too. So Loner Kavanaaugh versus Charles Johnson. This definitely has some fight of the night potential at flyweight. We have got some scrappers here. Loner Kavanagh is a kickboxing black belt, and he really likes to show it out in there. Dana White's Contender Series flash KO, you know. It was 1 second there, 1 second gone. Like, that was wild. And so far has been undefeated in the UFC, and this will be his 3rd fight, you know, coming off of a win versus Felipe Dos Santos, and boy, was that a bloody nightmare. Boy, was that terrifying beyond belief. That was awesome. There was blood absolutely everywhere. Those guys put their heart and soul on the line, and Loner really showed his toughness. You know, I want to include that photo, but it's a little too gruesome. Okay, so instead we got him mewing his face off in that one. Okay? And he's on an 11-fight win streak, so it has just been a perfect professional career, right? Undefeated, rolled right into from amateur with that. Just, yeah. And he has faced 6 undefeated opponents in his time. So that's very interesting. That's interesting, right? So he has he's met people in similar positions and come out on top. And like we saw in that last fight, willing to die on that sword. Okay? Wins are pretty evenly split. I like to see that. He's got everything there. Knockout and decision, though, both get 44, so it's not perfectly evenly split. You're going to see Loner throwing out a lot of teeps. Okay? And he's a counter striker. A lot of teep, teep, teep. A lot of counter striker, he's kind of pawing with the hand, waiting, and then he's coming in, okay? And we're going to see a lot of that. He doesn't make it a boring counter-striking fight, though. He'll get in there. And he is going against Charles Johnson. Energy. Shout out St. Louis. Hey, that's about the closest thing to Illinois, so let's go, Shout out to Midwest. And that's where his wrestling started, right? He started wrestling back in the day and had a big LFA run, 2 title defenses over at LFA before coming to the UFC. And it's been a little, wheat want woo because it's tough stuff, okay? But he's never been finished. All in all, through it all, he's never been finished. And he wins all the ways. Okay, so just like his opponent, he will be teeping like it's the jab. Attack, attack, attack on the legs. He's very happy against the fence. He feels at home against the fence. Signature wacky hairdo, as pictured above. And he's been getting some reps in with Merab, so we love to see it. Merab, he is fab, fab, fab. And just like his opponent as well, so we both got, lots of teep, teep, teeps. And he's also fought 7 undefeated prospects, including, Loner. So that's crazy. And he knows violence in there. This is going to be a gritty one. This is going to be gritty. I think if it's Charles's fight, there's going to be a lot of against the fence. A lot of gritty, nasty, clinchy, against the fencey. And it's this one's bound to be quirky. This one's bound to be locked in. Both guys are capable of some major violence. Hey, and Charles Johnson he's looking to stop an undefeated and face a challenging prospect, which is, that's no strange thing to him. Which leads us to our featured prelim. Machate Hasier versus Gage Young. And this is going to be at lightweight. Mahashate, Dana White's Contender Series, youngster, again, one of the NBO Fight Club reps. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, he's coming off of a decision loss, hard fought. He's on that decision grind in general. 50% of his wins. Not really a subber. Sublings are rare. 1 win, but Naya loss. Just not really. Yeah, he likes to be on the feet, and he's got a pretty tentative style, but it's exciting because it's a dial-up, okay? Round 1, he feels you out, getting a lot of high fives, a lot of thinky, like what you're doing, eyes in, lock in, study, calculate. And then round 2, he dials it up a little bit, okay? And then round 3, he dials it up even more. Uh-oh. And that is so exciting to see. So he's got some really great cardio he's put on display. He is an offensive fighter exclusively, but again, slow dial with it. He's very tall, and he uses that to his advantage for sure. We got to watch out, right, for too many lean backs, though. Oh, tall people, and they like to lean back. So, but he is not backing down. Okay, he's not backing down. That's why he's a fabulous person to book for a featured prelim, because he puts on an incredible show that's just going to dial up. That's what I expect. If it makes it all the way to the 3 rounds, or the 3rd round is going to be the best round for Machate, because that is how he likes to fight. And he's going against Gage Young, who is similar in that regard as far as he's an offensive fighter. Gage is very much so on the foot. He really likes to get in your face, G-Money. Okay, he had a Dana White's Contender Series loss, but great fight. And then he had a UFC appearance against Evan Elder and lost that, but hey, great fight. So showed a lot of heart, looking to get that first UFC win. I'm expecting that, hunger. Gage is a pretty hungry, scrappy fighter in general, but I think we're really going to see it, okay? We're really going to see that in your face. He is really in your face about it, and that's what he's going to have to do against a taller fighter. So scrappy on the ground as well, too. I don't think you can hold Gage down very well. No. I don't really think that Machate is going to want to. This is a fabulous featured prelim. Mahashate and Gage, they are going to get right up in each other's faces. They're going to get right up in there. Gage doesn't know any other way other than in your face. And what we know about Mahashate is he's got the ability to pace this fight really well. So I expect this one to be very, very exciting, and probably nothing on the ground, though, unfortunately. All on the feet. Well, or fortunately. Depends on what you like, right? But this one I think will be all on the feet. And that moves us into our main card. First up, we have Naraji versus Kiefer Crosby at welterweight. The Super Saiyan nerd. Okay, it takes one to know one though, am I right? Actually, that's awesome. It's such a great nickname, so classic, am I right? Okay, another road to UFC guy on a 5-fight win streak, so it's been looking money, right? It's been looking money, but 3 canceled bouts in a row. We don't like to see that, so I'm thinking that it's time for that bad luck to stop, right? Enough canceling. Knockouts are preferred, okay? That's the thing, is he's gonna be wanting to knock you out 90% of the time. He's never even been to the land of decision, okay? So that one loss, also not be a decision. But he is looking to scrap, and finish. With pretty much all of those finishes coming in the first round as well. So not a lot happening outside of rounds 1 and 2 for our friend here. He's going against Kiefer Crosby. Alright, a little bit his senior. 11 years his senior. Bellator. And he's looking for his first UFC win. Got a lot of people looking for their first UFC win on this card, okay? Again, it's going to be some extra scrap behind their energy here, right? So, a little bit 0-2, coming off of a sub loss to Sam Patterson, but it's Sammy Patterson. We've got high hopes for Sam Patterson and what he's going to be doing in the UFC for sure. And that was about a year ago, so, you know, maybe took some time, patched up some holes, because the thing is that before that it was a sub loss too. It looks like 60% of his losses are subbies, so I like to think that year off was spent maybe tightening some sub screws. Tightening on those sub screws. He has never lost a decision. Okay, so if Kiefer is going to go there, it's going to go in his favor, it looks like. And so knockouts are semi-preferred. Semi-preferred, but he's a decision grinder. We got a finisher versus a decision grinder, but both guys super aggressive. Something I'm really excited to see from Kiefer, whichever it is his boxing. He throws together a lot of really good combos. Love to see the body shots. He goes for the gut. He gets in there, get a little uppercut on him, and I like that. I like that little sneaky uppercut on the sneak, and I just like that he really puts together those combinations when the distance does get close. He's a very exciting fighter, and again, we're rooting for him because first UFC win. We gotta have it because it's do or die. And then we have Sumari versus Kevin Borhos. This is going to be sparks flying for sure at flyweight. Sumari is the first ever Tibetan fighter to make it to the UFC, so hello history. Okay, hello history. And he's put on some incredible performances. Hey, check out his fight against Charles Johnson, you know, the aforementioned, okay? He's coming off of a really wild split decision win against Mitch Raposo, so, you know, that fight was awesome. So Mitch was coming from the wrestling background, getting in, it was split because Mitch had that control time, he got in the takedowns, but the damage was on Sumari's side. Like, he got more damage in. That was a super exciting fight though. Wow. And he showed a very scrappy side of him, a side of him that's not willing to be held down. So I like to see that as a striker, right? As a striker, being quick to get back up on your feet, that's pretty big. It's pretty big. And he definitely showed that against Mitch, who's got some great wrestling technique. I mean, that team alpha male, right? They're sharp, and he is a team alpha male star. He's very headhunty in there. He's got a very wide stance. He's pretty tall, so that reach, you know, it favors him. Even when that wide stance, he's so long in there. 80% of his wins are coming from the knockout, and that's 13 of them totals. That's a lot, and 11 of those are in round 1. So, woo, yeah. But what he did show, right, in that fight against Mitch is that he can definitely keep it going for all those 3 rounds. So, we got to look out. We got to look out for more of that potential cardio if it doesn't get done early. And watch the left, okay, because he's primarily a southpaw. So looking up to set up with that left, and he's very fashionable. Let me tell you about this guy. He's got some outfits. And he's going against Kevin Borhos. Kevin is so fun. He's also a striker coming off of a decision win over Ronaldo Rodriguez, and he really knows how to keep that boxing tight. So identical to his opponent, 80% of his wins are via knockout, lots of power. He's very jabby with it, super jabby, high striking volume, so putting together a lot of really great combinations. And he's doing a great job in there, not sustaining a lot of damage, making sure he rolls those with those punches. He is rolling with the punches. We love to see it. So not a subby submarine. His grandfather is his hero. Hey, and he used to work at a pastry shop. So that's interesting. These two dudes, though, are going to try to knock each other out. They're going to be trying to look for that calculated, controlled knockout. They're not exactly like go for broke fighters, but they have a lot of power and they got the sight. Okay, they got the eyes locked in, so it'll be really exciting. Both coming in with that same finish rate via knockout. This one's not going to be on the ground. It's going to be very, very boxy. A lot of really cool technical combinations that I expect, and a lot of kickies from Sumari. Kiki, TP. Next up, we got some big boys in the house, right? Oh, our images are flipped here. Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta, but you know who's who, right? Sergey Pavlovich, number 3, holding on to that spot strong. Okay, he's been in the UFC since 2018, and he has faced a lot of tough competition. Coming off of a very tentative decision win over Jorginho Rosenstruck, who they subsequently cut from the UFC. Boom. But kind of a testament to the stakes that were there. I mean, yeah, he was coming in with a losing streak of his own. And he's had some forgivable losses, though, right? Okay, so Aspinall, Volkov, needed to break that streak. And so played a very tentative game against Rosenstruck because, he is a fellow power puncher, a fellow heavy-hitting guy, really had to secure the win in a safe way. So it was a bit of a, not as exciting fight as sometimes Sergey can put on, but hey, he showed the thinker in him there with that one. So back on a win. He is a knockout guy. All 15 of his knockouts are in round 1. So that is his usual game plan, is to go out there, get the power going early, right? And nothing in the subland. So if he is going to be on the ground, it's just going to be heavy blanket style. There's not a lot of threat going on. Doesn't believe in takedowns, more of a heavy boy against the fence sometimes. All on the feet if things are going well. And he's going against Waldo Cortez Acosta, salsa boy. And oh boy, is he, right? He is. He is a salsa boy. He's a dancer. He's been in the UFC since 2022 and has been killing it, looking so good. He's on a 5-fight win streak. And this is going to be his second Sergey in a row. Okay, so coming off of a decision win over Sergey Spivak. That's fun, just a couple months ago. And this is his 3rd fight this year. So Waldo is so active right now. He is trying to break into that top 5 with gusto. Yes, he has never been finished. He is not a subby submarine. No. And 50% of his wins are coming from decision. So definitely knows how to grind it out and put in that footwork. Let's go. And then the 43% is from knockout. Split up too between the rounds as far as when he's going to knock you out. This should be a really fun fight. I'm thinking that Sergey's going to come out a little bit less tentative than in the last performance. Going to try to really get on the go with it, especially since Waldo doesn't necessarily have the reputation for getting the knockout. That's not exclusively, that you're going to definitely want to try and outstrike him, because if you don't, he's going to outstrike you. That's the thing about Salsa Boy, right? He's going to get in there, he's going to dance. Okay, he's going to get in there, he's going to dance all over you. So, yeah, I'm thinking that because of that, Sergey will definitely put on the gas a little bit more in his last performance, but this is going to be a heavyweight big bang. Heavyweight big bang, and there's a lot at stake, not just that top 5 spot, but with the things in the heavyweight division, finally starting to move again, who's going to get that title shot next, right? Not necessarily the winner of this fight, but, lots of moving parts in the heavyweight division and want to stay strong in that top 5. So this will be a fun one. I suspect that this one will be another on the feet. I think we got a lot of on the feet matchups on this card, or just suspected to be. And that leads us to our co-main event, which on the surface you might think should be in subland, sub or in grapple land at least, even if a sub doesn't manifest itself, but the talk has been different. Featherweight banger, Brian Ortega going against Aljamain Sterling. Brian Ortega, T-City, but he's Wartega now, okay? But T-City, oh boy, is he, right? He really is. 50% of his wins are sub. He's got 3 triangle-related wins, okay? 3 triangle-relateds, and nay, a loss in the subcategory. So he definitely earns the nickname T-City 4. Sure, he's been in the UFC since 2014. He's an absolute legend, challenged for the belt multiple times. May not have gone his way, but hey, he's a scrapper. And one thing about Brian Ortega is he's the comeback king, okay? He's the comeback king. He can take on a lot of pain, damage, and show his durability and get it done. Get it done after facing adversity or after, twisting his ankle after a bad jump before the fight, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. He has got a lot of main character energy or syndrome, depending on how you want to look at it. But he's willing to die, okay? He's willing to die on that sword. He's willing to go to war, die on that sword. That's what we love about Brian Ortega. That's why he is a co-main event. That's why he's a guy that people call out a lot of times, because he is just so exciting and he has held on to his spot for quite a long time, right? He has maintained being in the title conversation for a while. Yeah, Brian Ortega honestly held the floor. He's a horse guy, okay, but he's also an eagle, right? And we've passed the 40-year mark. He made the choice to smash his beak, if you know, you know. Right. He's also skater boy, too. So there's a lot going on in the mind of Brian Ortega. And he'll be going against Aljamain Sterling, who is number 7 ranked in the featherweights division. So, finding his way at featherweight after being a former bantamweight champ. Aljo's on my inspo wall. 3 title defenses. He is a baddie. Okay, Aljo is baddie 101. Coming off a decision loss to Movzar, but hey, what have you, it happens. This is the featherweight new leaf. That's a part of that. We're finding our way. Okay, we're finding our way in featherweight. BFS with Merab, as we know, right? That's Merab's bestie. And he's been treated a little unfairly by the UFC. Okay, you don't have to get into it, but if you know, you know. It's not, Aljo has had to, he's had to pave an interesting road for himself. Okay? So he's a subber. 33% of his wins, nay, a loss, but 33%, it's like, maybe that's not the majority of his wins, but hey, the grappling, right? The thing is that he's on that decision grind, and within that you can see that subby mindset and that grappling prowess. He is so amazing in side control, and he is just like at home on the ground. On the ground is where Aljo flies free. So this fight is 5 rounds. That's whack. That's whack-a-doodle-doo. I love that. Okay, I love that it's 5 rounds. I don't know why, but we're not saying no. We're not saying no to it. Maybe it's because it deserves to be a main event, right? It could have easily been a main event on a different card. Super, super exciting guys. Very, very illustrious careers in the UFC. Both of them have walked among greatness for a very long time now. And interestingly enough, they've been on the same card a handful of times. Never really crossed paths since the most of Aljo's career has been in bantamweight. Aljo speaks very highly of Brian Ortega. He's like, he's like one of the people who I'm the most friendly with, but then it's very one-sided, because you ask Brian Ortega and he's basically I know the game he's playing. I'm like, Brian is so interesting. He's such an interesting guy, right? The eagle, the rebirth, all of it. There's a lot, okay? There's a lot. The spraining of the ankle, the look in his eye, everything that he does. He is so interesting. They're both really interesting guys, but they are so different. I feel like they couldn't be more different from each other. This is going to be crazy. And because of their incredible grappling accolades and just how much flavor they really show on the ground, I feel like it's of course this one's going to be rolly, rolly, rolly. It's going to be 2 cats that collide and start tumbling into the weeds. But, Brian Ortega that's not the call he's been calling, okay? He's not been singing that song. He's saying he's Ortega. He really wants to stand and bang. And Aljo's obviously going to embrace that if that's what is coming towards him. So I'm just really excited. I'm very excited to see what actually happens, and especially with it being 5 rounds. What are we doing? In a good way, what are we doing? I love this. So, wow, this one is wild and free. This could be fight of the night, and it is a fabulous co-main event. And that leads us to our main event. We have got some light heavyweight madness for us with Johnny Walker and Zhang Mingyang. This is a violent main event. Johnny, Cuckoo Crazy Walker, you know him, Dana White's Contender Series back in the day. I mean, it's not that far, but early Dana White's Contender Series. It's been a little up, down, all around, but always exciting with Johnny Walker. He's so crazy cuckoo, silly, funny, haha, right? You know what I mean? And 76% of his wins are knockouts, so that's just who he is. Okay, that's just who he is. Get it done, 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 done. Not a subworld guy, not really his thing. It's his brother's thing. It's not really his thing. I mean, shooting takedowns, sure, what have you, but actually getting the sub, nah, not really his wheelhouse. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, and both of these have an uppercut involved, so watch out for that. And his last win was Anthony Smith. That was a bit of time ago, and him and his opponent have that in common, okay? He's very new to being a dad. We gotta say massive congratulations to Johnny, and this is actually really relevant if you ask me. The fact that he's new to fatherhood is very, very relevant because it can kind of change your perspective as far as what are you even fighting for, right? Yes, and as mentioned, his brother is on the Walter Walker, is on the rise. He has multiple heel submissions in a row, completely unheard of. So they're very different in that aspect. They actually did not grow up together, and they're kind of like rekindling a relationship in a sense, making up for that lost time. It's kind of a beautiful story. And they're both very wacky. And Johnny loves to dance. He loves to dance. He loves chaos. He loves dancing. He loves knockouts. He loves wild angles. And he is going against young up-and-comer Zhang Mingyang, who has made his way to the number 14 spot after putting on the hurt, the pain, the suffering on Anthony Smith. Oh, my word. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Sanda Kickboxing is where he comes from, and he's the mountain tiger, but he says he kind of has to rein that kitty in. He's got to rein that kitty in and not get too crazy in there. And hey, believe it, he might get too crazy in there. He has been in the UFC just since 2024 and has had 3 fights so far, and all of them are performance of the night. Why? Oh, well, because all of them have ended in round 1 in absolute chaos. So, coming off of the Anthony Smith win, bloody elbow finish. And so this is the thing about Mingyang, right? He's growing, he's evolving, he's young, he's like so much knowledge yet to be absorbed. And coming from a Sanda kickboxing background, there's not elbows. That's not a thing there. And so he was talking about working at Tiger Muay Thai and as the Mountain Tiger, okay, and incorporating some of those pre or Muay Thai striking skills in there. And then elbows have been incorporated. So that's pretty cool to see the evolution of the game. He's continuing to evolve. And, when he was going to fight Anthony Smith, it's honestly very humble. Anthony Smith is definitely a dog, so he's not someone you want to sleep on. And even though Mingyang is coming from having so many round 1 knockouts, exclusively living all of his wins being in round 1, it can be easy to get cocky and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to finish in round 1, but he really didn't expect that. He actually was preparing 100% for a full 3-round fight to go all the way the distance. And yeah, the fact that he got it done round 1 then, it surprised him a little bit. So he's definitely humble, which is crazy considering the violence that he's been putting on, right? 68% of his wins are knockout, and as mentioned, all of his 19 wins have occurred in round 1. Decisions, not really his thing, Naya win, but 1 loss, so we're living in chaos world. He's definitely a silly goose. He's a little silly little goose. We've got 2 silly geese ready to goose it out in this one. These guys are so much fun. They're so quirky in there. Johnny is whack-whackle-doo and is definitely going to be an interesting competitor for Zhang Mingyang. Very interesting competitor for him. Absolutely not straightforward. It's going to be super fun. I think that, Johnny coming off of 2 knockout losses, it's getting a little dire, right, as far as he's Johnny Walker though, so I think that he could sustain probably 1 or 2 more before it's actually a question of right, because he's proven a lot in the sport. But I am very curious to see about how being a new dad actually could really change, I don't know, the pep in his step, right, just how he's moving about in that octagon. Is he going to be even crazier, or is he going to be a little bit more reined in? I think that it's predicted that this one's going to end in a finish. Both guys over 50%, almost 70% for Mingyang as well, and all 19 of his wins are in round 1, but knockouts specifically, I think knockouts are that's the really likely outcome just by the numbers, but you never ever know. I mean, will this be the first time that Mingyang has gone to all 3 rounds in a UFC fight? We don't know. So that's what I'm most excited about, really, is the data collection. And the light heavyweight division, there's some drama upcoming, right? We have Pereira versus Ankalaev 2. So, depending on the statement that's made here, we'll see what's next. This is going to be one really awesome card. I mean, there's so many awesome fights to lock in on, right? Loner Kavanaaugh, Charles Johnson. Lock in, right? Okay, Ranzu versus Austin Hubard. Lock in. Those are going to be... that's going to be a lot of fun. And then our co-main, I mean, so many really great fights. The only trouble is I cannot be awake at 2 a.m. I gotta work that day. There's no freaking way, so I'm gonna have to watch it later. But all good. You know, the shoe's gotta be on the other foot sometimes, right? Yes, so let me know what fight you're most looking forward to. I feel like there's just so much fun talent all over this card as usual, but it's really great for the UFC to travel the world, and we get so many amazing Chinese fighters that are going to be on this card. That's just a really special and unique treat in that sense. So let me know. Let me know anything about what you're looking forward to. If you know why the co-main event is 5 rounds, like where did this come from? Right, because Brian, it's not him. I don't think it was Aljo. I don't know. Here's our song of the week. It's going to be a great one. Jam out. And that is all I got. Peace out.